His journey began at Dynamo Dresden, where he grew up in the youth ranks and took his first steps in professional football. In the DDR Oberliga, the young Sammer quickly showed that a great future lay ahead. He wasn't just a gifted technician. He was a player who could read the game before it happened. Anticipation over reaction, calm over haste. Anyone who watched him back then sensed a conductor was coming of age. But it wasn't until his move in 1989 to one of West Germany's best-known clubs, 1FC Kaiserslautern, that he stepped into a bigger, tougher, louder footballing world. Out of the familiar, into sold-out stadiums, into a league where every misplaced pass was punished mercilessly. And yet Sammer was undeterred. He didn't just want to keep up, he wanted to shape. Kaiserslautern became the first true trial. New teammates, new opponents, new tempo. He answered all of it with the matter-of-factness of a player who doesn't merely adapt, but molds, creating spaces where none had existed, threading passes that sliced through lines, making runs that forced opponents into decisions they weren't ready to make. The talented midfielder grew into a captain in the making. And still, this was only the prelude. The real turning point of his career came at Borussia Dortmund, where he signed in 1993. This was more than a transfer, it was a statement. Dortmund wasn't looking for an add-on. They wanted a fixed point, someone others could take their bearings from. Sammer fit that need like a key in a lock. In black and yellow, the outstanding footballer became the compass of an entire team. He didn't rely on the most spectacular tricks, nor did he repeat the impossible week after week. He made the difficult dependable. In elite football, that is the true magic. By 1995, just 2 years after his arrival, Matthias Sammer had led the club to the championship. Not as a tag-along in a glittering squad, but as the metronome of a team defined by intensity, precision, and courage. Every touch had a plan. Every plan had a safety net. Every attack had a target. Was that luck? Number. That was Sammer. It marked the start of a golden era in which Dortmund learned that dominance isn't just a feeling, but the result of choices, again and again over 90 minutes across an entire season. But the true peak came in 1997. European nights, glaring floodlights, a heavyweight opponent, and at the heart of it, a Dortmund side that turned "Why not us?" into "Of course us." The UEFA Champions League, the most prestigious trophy in club football, went to Dortmund. It was the club's first triumph in the competition. History, live. Sammer wasn't just present. He was the undisputed heartbeat of the system. He set the height of the defensive line, the direction of the press, the speed of switches of play. He was the reassurance behind the back line and the first thought of the next attack. Presence without posing, leadership without grand gestures. He spoke football and everyone understood. But his journey wasn't meant to end on Dortmund's heights. It carried him further, to the place where pressure is greatest, the national team. Germany turned to Matthias Sammer early, and those who watched him then quickly understood why. He wasn't a helper. He was a center, not a caretaker, a creator. And when the European Championship came to England in 1996, stage and player met as equals. The German national team relied on Matthias Sammer as well. Early on, he was an indispensable part of the 11 that triumphed at Euro 1996 in England. During this period, Sammer developed into one of the best midfielders in the world, not only a defensive worker, but a man who dictated play with intelligent passes and tactical instinct. In a dramatic semi-final against Croatia, he scored a decisive goal that paved the way to the title. When he then also claimed the World Footballer of the Year award in 1996, it confirmed his status as one of the best players on the planet. At a time when stars like Ronaldo, Zinedine Zidane, and George Weah dominated the international stage. Yet, despite his success and the glittering accolade as World Footballer of the Year, Sammer's life was not only made of triumphs. Injuries began to weigh him down. They kept catching up with him, forcing him to push to his physical limits, and ultimately, after many years at the highest level, to end his playing career in 2000. It was the close of an impressive era that had shaped German football. But Matthias Sammer wasn't the type to simply step back. He was a fighter, and his story was far from over. As sporting director of the German Football Association, DFB, Sammer played a decisive role in restructuring German football. Under his aegis, the national team continued to evolve, and the foundations were laid for the great success of 2014, the World Cup title. In recent years, Sammer, often demonstrating his expertise as a TV analyst and commentator, became a key figure behind the scenes of German football. He was the man building the German collective, supporting the DFB as sporting director and helping to lay the groundwork for the 2014 triumph. Matthias Sammer is more than a footballer. He is a legend, a man whose talent, passion, and tireless drive have inspired generations of fans and players. His name is inseparable from some of German football's greatest moments, from the triumphant Bundesliga title in 1995 to the epic Champions League in 1997. From the Euro victory in 1996 to the accolade as World Footballer of the Year, Matthias Sammer lifted the game to a new level. Even after the end of his active career, he never fully left the spotlight. Matthias Sammer remains one of the defining personalities in German football and leaves a lasting impression wherever he has been. His story is one of inspiration, courage, and dedication. A player who gave everything for his country and his club, a player who shaped the game not only with his skills, but also with his strength of character. The question of how good Matthias Sammer was in his prime keeps coming up, but there is no simple answer. He was the embodiment of the modern midfielder, a blend of creativity, work rate, and tactical intelligence. Perhaps it wasn't his goals that made him a legend, but his incredible ability to read the game and pull the strings in the background. And perhaps that is the true measure of a player's greatness. When you think of Matthias Sammer, you think of one of the greatest German players of all time, a man who competed at the pinnacle of world football and who never stopped fighting for his dreams.